11 years ago nearly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why when I was saying before that I've done every mistake under the book, I've done it.
And we're live. Traders, welcome back to another fantastic Traders interview. Today we've got Bradley from the UK. Bradley, do you want to give yourself a bit of an introduction, your trading history and background, and just experience of trading overall?
Yeah, okay, mate. Yeah, so I'm Bradley Charlie from Manchester. What do I do? I'm still working full time. I work in the water industry for a company called United Utilities. So I run a clean water treatment works which supplies the public with drinking water. So when you go and turn your tap on, the water comes out. That's what I do. Yeah. Started learning to trade a long time ago, way too long ago when I think about it. Really, August or September 2010. Right.
Wow,
So
that is a long
what are
time
we
ago,
now?
to be
Like
fair.
11 years ago nearly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why when I was saying before that I've done every mistake under the book, I've done it. And I haven't been completely dedicated to trading all the time. I've dipped in and out of it in the early days, and I had long periods away from it. But then in recent years, I really focused on building my own robots, which I know is something BluFX doesn't support at the moment, but so I keep that in my personal accounts. But even so, I'm constantly working on different robots and trying to find new things, because passive income is one thing that I want to be able to get to. I want to be able to, if say one day you can't trade, you can't get to the charts or whatever, then it'd be good to have a couple of decent robots ticking over in the background. So yeah, 10 years learning to trade. When you see some people coming to the markets and they've been doing it a couple of years and they're off and running straight away and they're full-time traders, and I do sometimes look at myself and think, why have I taken 10 years to get to a stage where I'm consistent? You know what I mean? Like, that's a lifetime in my view. But everyone's journey is different, and I think that's another reason why I wanted to do this, because you can watch videos of people that become successful super quickly and think that you yourself are not made to be a trader. It's not for you. But don't be disheartened, because it is for you. As long as you don't give up and you keep learning and you keep progressing, then when I look at where I was when I didn't know anything about trading to where I am now, that natural progression, although yeah, it's been a long time, if that trajectory continues and the learning curve continues, then it is inevitable that one day you'll get to the point where you are a full-time trader, if that's what you want to do.
Right,
So,
I think
yeah.
when you say like just comparison in overall, like in life in general, to compare your own personal progression, whether that's within trading or something else, to somebody else's, it's always a very bad thing to do. I feel like we're all, especially going back to trading, the trading example, I feel like I have been trading now, must be gone, what, 5-6 years? I started trading when I was back in 2016. So, back then I had no idea what I was doing. I really had no clue at all. It was a case of just throwing money around, treating it a bit like a casino. And obviously, I've kind of had that progression. I've kind of learned the way to do things. But we spoke a little bit before we started recording about how even after all that, even at the point where I am now, I think it's important to take a break, give yourself a break sometimes, and recognize how far you've come. Like, comparing my trading now to what it was when I started, and the level of consistency I can achieve now compared to when I started, is something quite impressive. But then you compare yourself to somebody else who perhaps have picked things up a bit quicker than you, or perhaps maybe would like you to think they are a better trader than you, or what they show on Instagram or social media. It can be very confusing, especially someone like yourself, to be trading that amount of time. Like, that is crazy. That is so much knowledge and experience there. I wanted to ask you very quickly before we move into the main questions. How do you think trading is different to back then than it is now? Perhaps do you think there's more information available, more places to learn, more places to go to about trading? Because I don't mind telling you, I was a very young man back in 2010. And I definitely wasn't trading at that time. I wouldn't have been legally allowed to trade at that time. But what I will say is, how does it compare to like the social media age that we're in now, and how has that affected trading in a way?
I think that I started learning about trading, well, I mean, because I didn't know anyone that was in trading way back then. I mean, I'm 37 now, so 11 years ago, what was I, 25, 26, something like that. I didn't know anyone that was trading, so I went to a free seminar. It's a well-known guy. I'm not going to mention his name. He was selling a trading course, and because at that time that was the only way that I knew how to get into trading. I've got a twin brother. Me and my twin brother Matt, we ended up paying £3,500 to go to London for 2 days to do a training course about trading. And
Nuts.
knowing what I know now, I mean, everyone talks about baby pips, the school of pipsology. You can do that for free and go. You get so much information online for free. So knowing what I know now, I would never have spent that $3,500 in the early days, but because that was my only way in, I ended up doing that. But then I'd go on YouTube, and there was trading videos on YouTube, but they were nowhere near as in-depth as they are now. I mean, you can go onto YouTube now and you see things trending all the time. Like, it used to be price action, and naked price action was the in thing. It was the trending thing. And now everyone's moving to order blocks and smart money concepts. And you can see like the trends changing in Forex on YouTube all the time. People catch on to these popular videos, and then a trend will take off. So I think for anyone trying to learn Forex right now, YouTube is a goldmine for information. You can learn as much as you want on YouTube, I think. I mean, it's probably good to get a mentor, but for the basics, YouTube will probably tell you everything you need to know, really.
Right, definitely a good place to start. And we can talk about that very quickly as well. Obviously, you have your own YouTube channel, and you do a little bit of videos there. Talk us a little bit about that. What sort of content do you, for those who don't know who are watching now, what sort of content do you focus on your YouTube channel? Is it educational stuff? Is it more analysis? What sort of style do you do?
Yeah, so the reason I started it was not to make money. It was to just be a normal, everyday guy showing his journey about trading and to bring other people along, because there's always people at different stages, and there's always beginners coming along that appreciate any sort of information they can get. So yeah, I'll put strategy videos on there, ideas that I have. I'll say, I've been looking at the charts and I've noticed this, and I want to try and build a robot to trade it, and then I'll be putting results up on the screen and show people 10, 11, 12-year back tests using tick data and see what the results are, see what the drawdowns are, and then say, look, if we pitch it at this risk and you run it on 3 different currencies, then you might be able to make 3% a month, whatever. Just realistic stuff. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm making 100,000 quid a month. No, it's not that. It's just the normal person doing things that you've been doing, that I've been doing, that everyone does when you start trading. That's it. It's normal stuff, really.
Interesting. I feel like moving. I mean, I don't do robots like you do. And of course, at BluFX, you don't allow robots. But what I will say is having that very, just in general, very algorithmic and very black and white kind of approach to the markets is always key. Having a system is very, very important to long-term consistency and profitability in the markets. But I feel like, I mean, please, in the comments, if you're watching now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this way of trading, this sort of very algorithmic, not in like a robot sense, but in just a system sense, is the most scalable form of trading, because when you backtest and you build that data, you can identify what is working within your system and what is actually giving you those wins, what is reducing your losses, what's getting you out of the trade at a certain time, is your risk structure right? At the end of the day, what is putting more money in your pocket over a long period of time, you know, on a consistent basis? I feel like that form of trading is the most scalable, because obviously when you can make 20% a year on a 50k account, you can just as easily, if you remove emotion from the equation and all the human elements, you can make the same 20% on 1 million. You know what I mean? So when you take that emotional attribute out of it, when you're trading in a very systematic way, it means it's much easier for you to scale up those levels of funding, like obviously at BluFX. Now, moving on for the BluFX kind of questions, I wanted to ask you, you've already mentioned that you're working full time and you're juggling the trading as well. You've had kind of on and off relationship with trading for a little while, and you're back into it now. I've been seeing some of the stuff you're posting out on Instagram. It looks great, and it's great to see it and see that you're supporting BluFX, and it's great to see some trade analysis and that sort of stuff. But I wanted to ask you in general, how long have you actually been with BluFX, and what is your plan in the sort of short term? Are you looking to I don't know what account you're on at the moment. You're on the Lite, you're on the Pro?
I'm on the 50k account,
Okay, so in the Pro account, are you looking to grow that account, or are you just looking to take the profits from it? What's kind of like your short to medium term goal with the BluFX platform?
I think I wanted, so initially I started trading with BluFX back in, I think it's 2019. I just tried it because I just heard about the subscription model. I wanted to give it a go. I only tried it for a month or so, and then I fizzled out the first time round. So then maybe only 2 weeks ago, I'd signed up again for the 50k account. And my idea with this is just to supplement my personal account. So I've got my personal account on the side. I want the BluFX 50k account. I'll just trade it alongside it, side by side. I'm going to keep the risk super low. I'm not even going to get anywhere near the 10% drawdown. I mean, per trade, I might take 0.25% risk or whatever, just to keep it really low. Then potentially you could have, 40 losing trades in a row to hit that 10% drawdown if you trade in such low risk.
Sure.
And there's no emotions in it. Just follow the plan, let it tick over. And yeah, if I do hit the 10% growth to double the account, then I think I'll probably leave the profit in and I'll try and grow the account, because I don't need to pull the money account month on month. I've got my day job. I don't rely on any of my trading profits at all, which takes a lot of the pressure off. So yeah,
Right.
I would like to grow it if possible. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, I mean, obviously people use the BluFX platform in different ways. Obviously, you've got the two account types, but I think, if I'm honest with you, and from my experience, the real money is made obviously when you're able to grow that account to the high levels of funding, from the 50K all the way to the million. That being said, some people, they want to withdraw 1 month, they need the money for this month, obviously they have the ability to do that. But bearing in mind you're working full time, trading something you're managing on the side, you obviously, if you would like to focus on growth, so you're able to do that. And if that's as part of your strategy on the BluFX platform, then go for it. Now, actually, I'm interested to ask you, because this is something that's very close to my heart, because I used to work full time, and I still do in a way, and trade at the same time. Now, I'm very fortunate to work at BluFX. It's kind of like in the Forex world, but how do you manage working full time and also trading at the same time? Look, for example, one thing that really helped me was trading higher time frames. Something like, I would rarely trade anything less than the 4, because I used to work in waiting tables, like hospitality jobs, and believe me, you wouldn't get 5 minutes to check your phone, let alone every hour sitting down at your charts. No, it wasn't like an office job where I could just quickly look at my charts. It was a case of, I had to trade the high time frames, because I would very infrequently be able to actually look at the chart and sort of see what price is doing. Is there any tips you can give to people who would like to trade but are committed with full-time responsibilities, whether that's work or something else? What is there any advice that you can give them?
Obviously, with a full-time job, it's always going to get in the way. I'm fortunate in this job that I'm in that there aren't people crawling all over me every day. There's no managers breathing down my neck. So I'm on a water treatment works now. I'm currently the only person on site. The whole treatment works are being run by computers. So everything's ticking over, and when something goes wrong, that's when I have to step in and sort it out. So I am fortunate that there's a lot of freedom during the working day for me to check my laptop and keep an eye on the charts. But for people that don't have time to do that, and it's not only work though, is it? Because if you have children as well.
Exactly.
I've got a young daughter, and oh my God, man, they take up so much of your time. As soon as your working day's finished, then you're right into the kids until they go to bed. So you might only have, say, 2 or 3 hours in the evening when they're in bed to really focus on your trading. So the only thing that I can suggest is you just need to be really well organized and have a plan. And like you say, higher time frames definitely will make it easy, because if you only have to check the charts once every 4 hours or once every day if you're doing daily time frames, then you just set an alarm on your phone. If it's every 4-hour candle close, maybe 10 minutes before the candle closes, have a quick scan of the charts, and then if there are any setups, place your trades. But it's going to be one of those difficult things that you've just got to find a way around, haven't you, to get to that end goal. Otherwise, you're never going to make it work. So you're just going to have to figure out a way to find that 5-10 minutes every hour, every 4 hours to look at the charts. And once you know your setup, if you have a plan, and once you clearly know what your setup is, then it doesn't take long to glance at the charts and say, no, there's no trades, let's wait another 4 hours. Next candle comes round, yes, there is a trade. You know yourself, you can spot it pretty quickly once you've got a plan in place.
Well, that's it. When, for example, I do indicators. I'm literally looking at the bottom of my chart. I've got a confirmation indicator on the bottom of my chart. And I'll see, is it a go signal? Is it a buy or sell signal? And if it's not, I just move on to the next currency pair. So it's literally like, okay, yes, no, no. And usually, if I'm honest with you, I looking at all the currency pairs, all the combinations of the majors. Yeah. And I can see very clearly if it's actually a signal to go. And that's kind of how I roll. But I guess my mum used to say back in the day, sorry to bring her into it, but if there's a will, there's a way. If you want to learn how to trade, you're going to find the time. If you're committed and you have the drive to actually learn how to do this, then obviously you can probably find the time. I think in general, there's a big misconception with people who think that trading is somebody who's sat at their screens all day. They've got a wall of screens like you see in the films and maybe on social media as well. Like a wall of screens, they're there literally every tick. They're looking at price and movement. It's not like that. It doesn't have to be like that. It can be if you want to trade that way, but it's definitely not like that for me. I don't have time to do that. I don't want to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Even if you were trading lower time frames, let's say 15-minute charts, you could physically sit there and stare at the screen all day long. But even on a 15-minute time frame, 90% of the time you're not doing anything. You sat there looking at this chart, but there's not that much happening a lot of the time.
Yeah, sure.
So even then, you can disappear for a couple of hours and come back, and then things are pretty much the same. So this sitting at the screen, staring at the charts, is something that most people don't need to do unless you're trading like a 1 minute time frame or something.
It's not good to do either, right?
Sat there. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, it can mess with your psychology as well, and it's like watching your P&L go up and down. It's one of the things you've got to keep your psychology in check. That's so key. Now, moving on to the next question. What we're going to do actually in a minute, if you don't mind awfully, we're going to have a look at some of your analysis and some of the recent trades you've taken potentially. But one question before we do that, I wanted to ask, and I always ask our traders this, and actually I get a lot of the same answer, so I'll be interested to hear what you have to say, Bradley. Your favourite currency pair, what is it?
So, when I was talking to you about the robots, my absolute favourite currency pair for building robots is Aussie CAD, hands down, without a shadow of a doubt. Is Aussie CAD is perfect for the type of robots that I build, and I've tested all the currencies over the years and loads of different strategies. Aussie CAD for me is the best currency pair. But manually trading, I don't have a favourite for manual trading really. No.
A lot of people who come on the show, I'd say 80%, 70% maybe, say the cable, pound to the dollar, always. Really? I think obviously it's a lot. It's one of the most commonly traded pairs. There's a lot of volume in that pair. People seem to trade that pair quite a lot. I usually get the same answer. It's interesting to hear. That's a completely off the rails as far as I'm concerned. I've never heard that before. Interesting. Bradley, if you don't mind, we're just going to pause the recording for 10 seconds and we're going to have a look at the charts. All right, so we're back over at the charts. Bradley's going to chop up the charts a little bit, show us a little bit of analysis and some recent trades that he's looking at or maybe has taken. Bradley, take it away.
Yeah, okay, mate. So, we're on pound dollar at the moment. You can see on the 15-minute time frame, these two trades that are marked up on the charts are trades that I took from last week that I did share on Instagram as well. So just to give you a brief explanation of some of the things that I look at, I'm going to be looking at multiple confluences on multiple time frames, and the time frames that I look at are the 15-minute, the 30-minute, the 1 hour and the 4 hour. It might look a little bit indicator heavy on the chart at the moment because I've got Fibonacci on there, on this indicator at the bottom, this traders dynamic index I've got on there. Basically what that is, it's the RSI and it's put some Bollinger Bands on it. It's nothing too complicated, and you can see the arrows where I'm looking for divergence between what's happening on the price versus what's happening on the TDI at the bottom. So if we look at this first trade on pound dollar last week,
looks like a good one, mate. Looks like you've done well there.
Yeah, I think this was actually one of the first trades that I took on the BluFX 50k account since coming back the other week. And I just marked out, let me take this Fibonacci off, we'll do it again. So you've got the orange line here, which is the 200 period moving average, and if I just mark out Fibonacci from this high to this low, we had the 50% level coming right in almost where the 200 period moving average is. If it's not lining up perfectly, then don't worry too much because it's just like a general zone. So I like to have at least 2 or 3 confluences lining up, and you see this black trend line here at the bottom. So I just connected these first 2 tests here at this bottom, and then I noticed that exactly where price was right now, we were going to get a third touch of this trend line, as well as having divergence from the RSI on the bottom versus what price is doing, as well as having a 50% Fibonacci level, as well as having the 200 period moving average. So I thought, right, we've got, what's that, maybe 4 confluences all lining up in the same zone. There's no point overthinking it. You might as well just take that trade. And the reason I put my profit target where I did was because, one, I was looking at this resistance zone here to the left, but also we were going right into the 50 period moving average. So these are areas where price could reject.
Could be some profit taking there, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. So what I'd like to do is normally when I enter the trade, as we're moving into profit, if we hit a resistance zone or a support zone, then I'll trail the stop up. So usually when I get to around about 1-to-1, I will trail the stop and just lock in some profit, so that then if it reverses on me and takes me out for a small win, then I'm not too bothered. Then later on that day, there was a second trade, or was it the next day? Let's have a look.
This is again on the 15 minute.
It was the next day. It was the next day. So I kept on this trend line, this rising trend line, but I also started out marking out these highs, and then we were coming into this purple line at the top, which is the 800 period moving average. So the reason I've got the 800 on there is because obviously it's 4 times the 200 period, so the 800 period moving average on the 15-minute time frame should be in the same place as the 200 period moving average on the hourly time frame, yeah, because it's four candles makes up the hour.
Right. Interesting.
So, I mean, with TradingView, you can choose your time frame anyway, can't you? You can show a different time frame moving average on a different time frame chart, so it doesn't really matter. You can show. I could have just chosen 200 period for the hourly and set that as a setting.
I see what you mean. Yeah, 4 times it. I understand.
So, as we were approaching this 800 period moving average and this uptrend line, I had the red dotted line above, which was a resistance level. And then if I just go to the 4-hour time frame, let's get rid of this Fibonacci and just mark out, I'm sure I had another confluence from this low, is it to this high? Yeah, see the 61.8 right there?
Yeah, I can see that.
Got the 61.8 lining up perfectly with this uptrend line, and you've got the resistance zone there as well. And then on the 15-minute time frame,
you've got the divergence at the bottom as well.
We had
but as for Fibonacci's, if I can ask, you use it for your trade entries, or is it more for your take profit levels and stop losses, or how do you approach Fibonacci personally?
For confluence for the trade entries, really.
Okay.
So as we had the 61.8 lining up perfectly with this 800 period moving average, and we had divergence on the RSI to price again. So again, we've got 4 confluences: resistance, Fibonacci, trend line, and divergence, all in the same place. And then I just put my profit target just shy of this support level to the left, and I always go for a 2-to-1 reward to risk. I mean, obviously I'd love to get 3-to-1, 4-to-1, 5-to-1, but for my peace of mind and my psychology, if I can get a 2-to-1, I know that I only have to be right 33% of the time to break even or whatever it is, something like that.
Yeah, sure. I'm with you.
So, and just let those probabilities play out. And you've got enough to think about and enough to plan in your trading. I don't really want to be having to try and get the smallest stop loss possible and get the biggest reward, because ultimately in the long run, do I need to do that? I probably don't need to do that. As long as I've got edge and I'm right more than 30% of the time, then I will be ahead in the long run.
All right, so that rounds up the chart analysis part of the interview. Bradley, before we let you go and before we finish the interview, I wanted to understand exactly one question, which I always ask our traders when they come on the show. What one piece of advice would you give a trader who wants to join the BluFX platform? Is there some piece of advice that you would give them to be successful in their trading, or something that's going to help them overall?
I think when you're first starting out with BluFX, the one piece of advice I would say is keep your risk small, yeah, because I know that although the leverage isn't huge with BluFX, it's 1-to-3. So many people get wrapped up in leverage, like, oh, why are you not offering 1-to-100? Why are you not offering 1-to-500? The one thing you need to worry about, first of all, is are you profitable? Can you make money? Because it doesn't matter if they give you 1-to-1000 leverage, you're not going to get a payout, you're not going to make money. So the 1-to-3, trust me, even with 1-to-3, you can blow out your 10% drawdown very, very quickly if you're not keeping your risk small. So like I said earlier on, my risk with BluFX on the 50k account at the moment is 0.25%, and I know that gives me up to 40 trades losing in a row to hit 10%. So keep your risk low until you feel confident in what you're doing, you feel comfortable with the trades, and then if you want to bump it up to 0.5%, 1% risk, whatever you want to do later on, then you can do that. But I would say, yeah, keep your risk low in the early days until you're comfortable with everything.
Interesting. I think just touching on that leverage thing very quickly, I think traders who come from a retail background, who are used to trading with a small account, they're trading with their $500 or whatever the case may be, they will need that leverage if they want to make any sort of meaningful income from the markets. They need that leverage there to really make trading worthwhile, because if they can make a 10% return on $100, they've made $10 versus 10% on a 50k account. I'm not going to do the maths, but you see what I mean? Yeah, so I think that is the age-old leverage question. And we know that we hear it a lot from traders, and we do understand that some people do want that high leverage, but we know from the data we have, and we know from the data we've collected and our overall experience in the markets, that leverage is one of those big reasons why people are actually unprofitable in the markets. We all heard the statistic that 90% or 99% of the markets are unprofitable. Forex traders are unprofitable, and leverage plays a big part in that. Yeah, Bradley, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's really good to talk to you. I can see that you clearly know a lot about trading, got a lot of experience, and I'm wishing you all the best with your trading going forward.
Thank you very much.